الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. قال الله تعالى في كتابه العزيز بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. ويقول جل وعلا يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. ويقول جل وعلا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أعاذنا الله منها وإياكم. Verily all praise and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our creator, owner, and sustainer. And may the peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon the most esteemed leader and most honorable teacher, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his family, his companions, and those who follow him until the day of judgment. Allahumma ameen. It is an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to be in your presence once again, alhamdulillah. And it is an unbelievable opportunity because only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows how many more opportunities we have to either meet or even live. So we have to truly appreciate the opportunities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us and fully take advantage of it as much as we possibly can. And last time I was here about 2 weeks ago, we talked about the importance of unity. We talked about how we should rally around the MSA as a student organization, particularly in the University of Utah. And in today's khutbah, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, what I want to speak to you guys about, bi'idhnillah, is you have to have yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when I say you, I mean we, all of us. But specifically, we have to have the yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the conviction in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the quick tip that I want to give you guys for the khutbah, the Jum'ah khutbah, is we should look forward to the Jum'ah khutbah. It shouldn't be something that we just kind of haphazardly come by and, we show up on time for our classes, but when it comes to the obligations to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we take that for granted. Or we neglect that. So it is something that is very, very important to remember, inshallah. To get into the topic of having yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The first part of it is, what is yaqeen? And the yaqeen simply means that it's the certainty and the conviction. Certainty and conviction. Certainty and conviction in what? Certainty and conviction in who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the opening verse of Surah Al-Baqarah, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. That in this book there is no doubt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the Quran, in that book there is no doubt. And it is huda, guidance for who? Al-muttaqeen. Those who have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if we do not have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not affect us much. But when we have the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it affects us in ways that we can only imagine. Having the yaqeen, the conviction. A part of the conviction is getting rid of the doubt. Exchanging the doubt for the conviction, the yaqeen, specifically in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you must be wondering, how does that relate to me? What value can I take from that? And if you look, particularly those who are going to the universities, and we are on all forms and in all different levels, from undergraduates to graduate to post-grad. But the one common denominator, whether it's a student or someone outside of the student environment, we all have goals and dreams. We all have ambition. And within those goals and dreams and within those ambitions is basically the difference between achieving your goals and dreams and just having goals and dreams. The difference between the two is the yaqeen. It is the conviction, it is the belief that we have. First and foremost in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And secondly, in ourselves. And last but not least, in our goals and dreams by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why is it important for us to have yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And that's something that we have to ponder every single moment that we get. We have to think about these matters. It's one of those things where you don't know what you don't know that you need to know in order to achieve your goals and dreams. And a part of that is knowing about the yaqeen. It's one of the elements that it took me almost 10 years to even have a grasp of. And I'll tell you, inshallah, why that is important from a personal story. But for you, when you think about it, yaqeen is that solution, that universal solution. It is the universal problem. With the same token, it is the universal solution. And what do I mean by that? Every human being is in 3 different areas of their lives right now as we speak. They could be living their dreams or living their nightmares. And the one in between those two is the transition. And within that transition, you can go in either direction. You could be going from your dreams to your nightmare, or you can be going from your nightmare to your dreams. And alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, as students of the University of Utah, we are in a direction where we're headed towards our goals, we're headed towards our dreams. So the conviction is that solution that we all need in order to go from the nightmare that we might be experiencing today to the dreams that we want to be in tomorrow, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, if we're not already in transition, already living it. The second reason why it's so important to have yaqeen primarily in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the fact that you will find traction. Meaning, don't you guys experience year after year, you feel like you're not getting anywhere with your life? And the reason why I'm laughing and smiling is because I felt that for years and still do to a large degree. And it's amazing. It's like this, the years, every year we get a new year. But every year that passes by, it's like I look back and it's almost like crickets are chirping. Simply because I did not have that yaqeen, and we do not have that yaqeen, and that is the basic problem that we face today. But once you have that yaqeen, it is as if you get off the rat race that, I don't want to get too much into it right now, but the schools are preparing you for. But think about that for a minute. Is the school preparing you for traction, for you to take steps towards your goals, or is it preparing you for the rat race? And it's a beautifully designed system to put you in the rat race, honestly. So how can you get out of that? Figuring out your goals and dreams and having the yaqeen primarily in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that conviction in yourself to be able to go after your goals and dreams no matter how many people tell you that's not possible. And the third reason why it's so important to have yaqeen, it is you will be one of the most inspirational and motivational people that is around. Right? Because what do the inspiration and motivational speakers do? They transfer yaqeen to us. They basically give us that conviction that we can achieve what we set out to achieve. With those three reasons, it's important to know that we will be able to achieve our goals by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the question comes, how can we develop our yaqeen? How can we develop this conviction? How can we develop this certainty primarily in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in ourselves and our goals and dreams? And I want to leave you with three particular distinct tips. And the first one is taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Knowing the boundaries, the rules and regulations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very, very important. But sadly today, these days, every human being barely knows the boundaries of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Barely knows the rules and regulations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So how in the world do we expect to increase in the conviction in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the conviction in ourselves, and the conviction in our goals and dreams that we're pursuing night and day? And again, I go back to that statement. We really have to know what we don't know, that we need to know in order to get to where we want to be. And I submit to you today, that thing is yaqeen, conviction in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So having the taqwa, to know what is dragging you away from the yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very important. The second thing is to search for and speak the truth. To search for and speak the truth. There's a lot of examples and stories of people who sought the truth, like Salman al-Farisi, who left Persia when his family was worshipping the fire, to go live with the Christians, only to make it to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because inside of him was that GPS that told him that he had to search for the truth. And as he was going through that journey to searching for that truth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increased him in yaqeen every step that he took towards that long, painful and beautiful journey. So we have to search for the truth, just like Salman al-Farisi did, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And last but not least, when we search for and speak the truth, we have to have the courage to live the truth. It's one thing to speak the truth to everybody else, and I've been through that failure. Where I'm like, well, you did this, and they're looking at me like, that's like 20% of what you have. And that's a part of the beauty of speaking the truth. Is when you speak the truth about somebody, they speak the truth to you back. And in that reality, you develop and grow. And nothing happens without the truth. And it was narrated from Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu that the conviction that he had in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so amazing, wallahi. He said, if they brought Jannah right in front of me, I wouldn't want it more than I do now. Meaning, the conviction I have within myself, knowing that Jannah is reality and knowing how bad I want it, even if Jannah was brought right in front of my eyes, I wouldn't want it more than I do now. And he said, if Jahannam, the hellfire, was brought to me right in front of my face, I wouldn't hate it as much as I hate it now, as much as I hate to be in it. And it is that conviction that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him. So those are the 3 steps that we have to implement in finding that conviction within ourselves. In Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost. So before I finish up the first part of the khutbah, I want to let you guys know, how does that relate to you guys? As students of the University of Utah, as employees of the University of Utah, whichever level that you're in. If I'm not mistaken, there's about 2 months left, right, of the semester, roughly. If nobody's paying attention, I don't even go here and everybody's looking at me like a deer in the headlights. So I'm here to remind you, you have 2 months left. So if you've been slacking off, messing around, like I have sometimes, this is your reminder. How can you use this yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It is to know that you will be able to get the grades that you are after. By putting in the work. I guarantee you, I know there's one person who's failing miserably, at least. And there's a lot of people who are succeeding and like walking into the exams and laughing when they get out. But there's some of us who are sweating bullets going into these exams and midterms and papers. That some of you guys might be sweating bullets right now. How can you increase yourself in the conviction that you can achieve your goals? That you can achieve, you can get the best grade that you possibly can in your school, in your education. And it is going back to the Quran and Sunnah, making sure that you obey the rules and regulations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you keeping yourself within the boundaries of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you that conviction in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in ourselves and in our goals. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us that conviction. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم وهو البر الكريم. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our creator, owner, and sustainer. And may the peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon the most esteemed leader and most honorable teacher, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his family, his companions, and those who follow him until the day of judgment. Allahumma ameen. And to start off the second part, all we have to do is talk about what is the result that you get from having yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what is the summary and conclusion of this topic? The yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I want to let you guys know of a personal story that I'm a little bit hesitant to share because it's a little personal, but I feel like it's some of the most personal stories that you have are the ones that impact and change people's lives. Because if it changed my life, I'm sure that it'll touch one person. And this is not to talk bad about anybody, this is not to put anybody down, but it's about the truth. It's about seeing the reality for what it is. And it's important for me to share it with you because you might already have it or you're struggling with it. This yaqeen, this conviction. And you're struggling for your goals and dreams. You're struggling for whatever you want out of this life and in the akhirah. And when I left the University of Utah a few years back, I realized I had these unbelievable goals and dreams. But nobody ever said that it was possible for me. So I ask you, what are the goals that you have that are so amazing that people are telling you it's not possible, directly or indirectly? And as I was going through this painful journey of going into a tough job market and failing miserably interview after interview and not getting jobs because I wouldn't shake a woman's hand. And then on top of that, I had goals and dreams that were beyond that. And throughout the whole years, every time I had this amazing dream, amazing idea, every time I share it with somebody, it gets swatted down like it's nothing. And in that, I never had the conviction. And it was a week ago, within a week. You know when the base problem of the conviction is not feeling worthy and good enough. How often do we feel like that? How often are we reminded of that? So when you don't feel like you're worthy and good enough, what that does is you have this goal and this dream that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed you with, but you feel like you cannot go directly and be that so you can do that, so you can give that and receive that. But in reality, what we do is we think we have to give, we have to do in order to get, in order to give, in order to become. And for me, I always felt like I could be this person that I wanted to be and live this dream that I wanted to live. But that conviction was missing, that link to that was missing until recently when I talked to a friend of mine and I asked him, I have this thing that I feel like I believe that I could achieve this for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But everybody's telling me I have to do something else in order to be good enough to do the thing that I want to do. But deep down inside of me, I knew that I could do what I wanted to do without having to do something else to be good enough and worthy enough to do what I wanted to do. And I'm sad to report to you, it is your own family who are holding you from your goals and dreams. So keep that in mind, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, that having that conviction in your dreams is important, but what's more important is having that conviction in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How many of us have these doubts lingering in our hearts? How many of us have these doubts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lingering in our hearts? We have to exchange the doubts in our hearts for the conviction in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's an obligation upon us to get rid of the doubts that we have. And having doubts is not an issue. That's not the main thing. It's living with those doubts. Accepting those doubts, that's the issue. We all have doubts every now and then. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to clear our hearts and minds and bodies and souls from any form of doubt that we might have in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in ourselves and our goals and dreams. And what I will leave you with is the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will remind you of that, and I will leave you with the words of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Our Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. In this book is the one that has no doubt. The kitab, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no doubt. And it is a guidance for al-muttaqeen, those who are conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that the most perfect faith is the one that has no doubt in it. The most perfect of faith is the one that has no doubt in it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and allow us to work righteousness until we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi Sayyidina Muhammad. كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آله إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وبارك على محمد وعلى آله محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آله إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون وأقم الصلاة. الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله على الصلاة على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. So straighten the lines and fill the gaps, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with us. So, Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله